About a year ago, I got this pack, the Raide Research 40 liter, the LF 40 liter. And I did a long review of that, or not really a review, but an overview of that when I first got it, went through all the features and stuff. So if you're interested in that, you can find that video on our channel. It's been a year though since I've had it, and I've been able to use it in all 4 seasons in a variety of situations. And so I'm going to talk about my experience with it and see if my opinions on the pack have changed since I first got it. So when I first got it, I was really excited. I went through every detail of the pack and I was so impressed with the craftsmanship and the design of the pack. I even interviewed Peter Siegel, who is the founder of Raide Research and the designer of this pack, and you can find that video on our channel as well. He's an engineer by trade, and I could tell because when it comes to problem solving, he was able to come up with some really effective yet simple and elegant ways of solving problems that many packs, ski packs have. So I was really impressed with this pack initially and with Peter when I talked to him. Then I went out and used it, and I was even more impressed. Now I had a few concerns before I ever even started using it when I was looking at it, and some of those concerns after using it were unfounded. They weren't really an issue, but there were 1 or 2 concerns that ended up being an issue, and I'll show you how I solved those problems for myself anyway. So first of all, let's talk about the things that I really like. The fabric, for one. This fabric is super durable. Other than the fact that it's a little bit dusty from use, the fabric looks like it's brand new, and I suspect it will look brand new for a very long time. Very abrasion resistant, and maybe the thing that I love most about it is how waterproof it is. I've had it in the rain, I've had it in the snow, I've put it in puddles accidentally, and it's just kept everything inside super dry. Now it's not a dry bag by any means. There's zippers, there's seams and stuff where water could get in. But as far as like water coming from above in the form of rain or snow, this thing is just very, very waterproof. I love that the pack is reinforced in all the right places. I've thrown skis on it. I've thrown climbing gear in it. I've taken it up the Grand Teton. I've done a lot of backcountry skiing and some ski mountaineering with it. I've used it as a travel bag. I've used it for backpacking. I did a 4 or 5 day 50-mile backpacking trip in the Wind Rivers with it. I've used it as a cragging pack for rock climbing. So I've used it in a lot of different ways, and I'll say that this pack is reinforced in all the right places to keep it durable and long-lasting, but they haven't overdone it to keep the weight down, so I've been impressed with that. I got bar tacks in all the right places. I suspect that this will hold up. It's not going to fall apart on any of the seams in any of the high-stress areas like some lesser packs will. I love the features of it. For backpacking, I use this little pocket for my headlamp for quick access snacks. It's been useful. Probably haven't used it a whole lot for skiing, backcountry skiing or ski mountaineering. Not that I couldn't, I just kind of don't think about it. But that was convenient on our backpacking trip. Probably the feature that I love most about this pack is this big pocket here in the front and this stretchy top part that can go over a helmet. I use this for everything. When I was backpacking, I used it for dirty or wet clothes that needed to be able to be separate from the rest of my stuff, but I didn't want it to fall out. There is a drain hole at the bottom of this pocket, so if you get water in there, it will drain out. When climbing, and this is climbing or skiing, this is probably like my favorite feature. This stretchy little pouch thing that pulls over, man, it's awesome. I love it. I throw it over a climbing rope, I throw it over a climbing helmet, throw it over extra layers. It expands as you shove more stuff in. It just seems like it can swallow everything up. It's quick to throw stuff under it, quick access to get to stuff. That's probably my favorite design feature of this pack. And Raide Research has come out with other packs, a 30-liter pack, some airbag, not airbag packs, but some avalanche specific packs. And they all have this feature, and I'm really glad, because that's probably my favorite feature. Other features that I love the back panel access for backcountry skiing. That has proven super useful. I love it for if I'm using this as a travel bag, which I've surprisingly used it quite a bit as a travel bag. I didn't intend to, but it just kind of ended up being the most convenient bag, the most convenient size in many cases. So it's nice to be able to flip that open and see all of the contents of your pack. So I have like that. When I climb, I don't ever really use this because stuff falls out, and if I'm on the side of a cliff, that's not really convenient, so I use the top to get to my stuff. But for travel, for skiing, I love this back panel access. This pocket here, I use all the time, put my keys in there, my small stuff. I find myself using that a lot, so I'm grateful for that feature. The ice tool carry spot is not the most convenient that I've ever used, but I love that he integrated the snowboard carry and the ice tool carry into the same kind of features. It's pulling double duty. The tool pocket here for shovel and probe, snow saw, some of that type of stuff. I ended up replacing the normal pole for something bigger and brighter, so it's easier to grab with gloves on and easier to see if I'm in a hurry. But yeah, that's, I guess, one little upgrade. So generally those are the things that really stand out to me on the pack that I've loved. Some things that I've added to the pack to make it more convenient for what I do. I like to have a water bottle handy on my shoulder strap while I'm touring. I find that I drink a lot more that way. If I keep my water in my pack, I just end up not drinking a whole lot and then getting dehydrated because I forget to open it up. And so I did add that, and that has been a good addition to that. I mean, these are pretty easy to make if you know how to sew, or you can find them from Dynafit or other companies make things like that. They're not too expensive. And I use that year round. I use that for backcountry skiing especially, but I also used it backpacking and climbing, some of those types of things. I liked having that on there. Another thing that I did is I made a change to the hip belt and how it pulls on the hip belt. In my video last year when I was first looking at it, at the pack, this is one area that I wondered if I was going to need to make a change to. It's interesting that he went with 1-inch webbing. Again, I think it was to save weight, and I think that'll work fine. But as a hip belt, I usually would use like a 1.5-inch webbing, because I find that helps get either that or do a little longer webbing that will be stitched down low here and high here, so it pulls from both sides, because I find that either a wider webbing or a webbing that pulls from both angles, it's going to help cup the hips a little better, ride a little better on the hips. Again, bigger deal with a backpacking pack where you're carrying heavier weight, probably not as big of a deal on a ski pack. So 50 miles over the course of 4 days with 30-ish pounds. That hip belt got annoying at times because the padding isn't super thick, and having all the weight pulling from the middle just put pressure along this middle seam here in the hip belt. It put pressure on the hip instead of cupping the hip and kind of spreading the weight out across the hip belt. It sort of centered the pressure along that seam, and it wasn't as comfortable. So what I did is I unstitched that, pulled the webbing out, sewed on this webbing that kind of pulls from the top and bottom, and then sewed that in, so then when I pull it tight, it sort of cups the hip belt around my hips, and it helps to spread the load out across the whole hip belt. I found that that was significantly more comfortable when backpacking. I probably won't use this a ton for backpacking, but I found on one trip that I did, I was looking through all my backpacks, and it was just kind of the most convenient size, and I was curious to see how it would do in that situation. But anyway, this was a big upgrade for backpacking, and I suspect this year it'll be even more comfortable for backcountry skiing. When talking to Peter, he said that this frame would be sufficient to carry loads of maybe a max of about 50 pounds. So maybe 30 pounds or less is the sweet spot, 35 pounds or less is the sweet spot, 50 pounds max. I would say that's about right. When I was backpacking, 30 pounds felt pretty comfortable, but I probably wouldn't have wanted to carry too much more because the padding here is not super thick on the shoulder straps or on the hip belt. It's a pretty thin, lightweight padding, and if you overload it too much, those places are gonna deform and not be as comfortable. The frame itself, in my other video, I show how you take the frame out. Don't do it. It indeed is really hard to put back in. And but the frame is a good frame. It's comfortable. It moves pretty well with you. In climbing situations or you're technical climbing, it's annoying to have a frame in there. So maybe in that situation, like technical rock climbing with it on my back, I'd prefer not to have the frame. But it's such a pain to put the frame back in that I just probably would leave it in. I'd probably use a different pack if I was going to be doing multi-pitch rock climbing and I was going to be climbing with the bag versus just, hauling it. As a crag pack, hauling stuff to the mountain, it works great, but probably won't be my technical climbing bag, but that's fine. I didn't buy it for that purpose. One other feature that I actually found myself using a lot and really liking, this roll top closure here. Obviously you can open it way up, and that's fine. That's great for keeping your stuff dry, for rock climbing. I like having the top access, but the feature that I really liked having the combination of this roll top closure and this cinch closure, and the little space in between here, between that roll top and the cinch, is an awesome convenient pocket for lots of stuff. I would throw a water bottle and snacks and a rain jacket in there. For backpacking, it was super convenient to just be able to grab that stuff out of there real quickly. Just a nice little convenient spot there for little odds and ends. So I really used that a lot and appreciated that design feature. One thing I mentioned in my last video is the way that this frame is situated in the backpack. You've got the frame here that goes down, and it seats in the bottom of it's got some kind of heavy duty webbing that the end of the bar fits in. And I mentioned that it was a similar design to an old Mountain Smith pack. And I forget I forget which pack. I think it was the Mountain Smith Ghost is what it was called. But I mentioned that was a really comfortable pack, and a lot of ultralight thru hikers would like that pack because it was a good size. It was comfortable to carry 30 plus pounds in, or 30 or less pounds in. But that pack had some warranty issues because the end of that rod where it would fit into the frame would wear holes in the pack. I thought that this pack would do better because they've rounded the end of the bar with a rounded press fit cap in the end of the bar. They've kind of reinforced where that fits in. And I would say that that is true. This is going to be durable. It's probably not going to wear out for a long time. But if there is one spot on the pack that has shown just a little bit of wear, it is right where those bars come in and right where this fabric creases over that. That's just kind of like a high abrasion area, and then having that bar stick in there. I just noticed on this fabric there's slightly more wear on that spot than there is on every other spot in the pack. And of course there would be, because it's the bottom of the pack. It's where you set the pack down. But also just right where those bars fit in, there's just a teeny bit more wear. I don't think it's going to be a problem over the course of the life of the bag. I think you'll get 10, 15 plus years of regular use out of this bag before that wears through. If anything, I think the foam is going to be toast long before that wears out. But either way, I think all of it is, he chose some good fabrics to use, some good designs to use. I think this will be a great pack for me to use year round for the next 10 plus years. So overall, trying to think if there are any other features. Oh, one thing that happened, I mentioned a concern that I had, that these buckles and the webbing and stuff are small, might be difficult to use with gloves. I haven't found that to be the case. Pretty easy to use with gloves. But this buckle right here broke, and it didn't break completely, just a little piece broke off, like the first time I used it. But it hasn't been an issue. It hasn't affected the buckle being able to open and close. Really, it's just a little cosmetic thing. But I think I took it out on a real cold morning, and at some point it just snapped off. Not even sure how it happened, but still works fine. Haven't had anything else on the pack break or even come close to breaking. Everything else has been very durable. This hip belt pocket there has been really convenient, nice and stretchy. I like that. I like the fabrics that he used on that. This is a Dyneema reinforced stretch woven fabric, and I think it'll be real durable. I did snag it, and there's just the tiniest little snag on the fabric there. And for as much as I was scumming up rocks on the Grand Teton, or going through brush while backpacking or whatever, that's the worst that it's had. That's pretty good. I think lesser packs would have shown a lot more wear from those types of things. So if I were to give this pack a rating, we'll say out of 10, I think I would give it like 9.8 or 9.9. I mean, almost perfect. If I were to change anything, maybe I would add like a slightly more robust foam, like slightly thicker foam in the shoulder straps to give this a little better structure and, help that from wearing, smushing, deforming over time. That's probably not so much an issue when you're backcountry skiing and you're putting your pack on over layers, but for backpacking purposes, I think that could be slightly more comfortable. I know that's not what this is made for. The hip belt I would change, I think, just to have the webbing pull from a different spot. I think for backpacking and for backcountry skiing and for all uses, that's a little bit more comfortable. Everything else, I don't think I would change anything. I just think, thinking about, especially for what it's designed for, I think it's pretty much perfect. And for other uses that you may use it for, backpacking, travel, that sort of thing, it's really, really good. Really impressed. I am excited to see this brand continue to grow. If you look at Raide Research's website, they are now offering a running belt that looks awesome. Haven't tried that yet. They're offering some smaller sizes in the ski packs. He's even offering some backcountry skiing apparel now. They've got some bibs and stuff like that look pretty awesome. So check out Raide Research. They're not paying me to do any of this. It's just a company that I learned about, liked what they were doing, thought I'd test them out, and I'm so impressed. So I'm thrilled to see what else Raide comes out with in the future. And it's the beginning of ski season here. We're waiting for more snow. We've only got maybe a foot of snow in the backcountry, not enough to ski on really. So I'm anxiously waiting more snow so I can get back out with this pack and make some turns. Anyway, thanks for joining me for this video, and yeah, see you on the next one.